Hello everybody, my name is Tyler Potts and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be focusing on React and specifically the state component, so the state management inside of React. And to do that we have this timer app which we've done in Vue JS and we've done in vanilla JavaScript. So I thought React, it needs one in React, right? So it counts up, you can hit lap, it gets a lap, and then you can hit pause, you can stop, and you can restart. And then if you lap again, as you can see, the quickest time moves all the way to the top. And we can lap this many times, and then we can just scroll down to them. Again, we can pause it, start it, and then stop it. So they're all fun things we could do in this React app. So let's head over to the code and get things set up. Okay, guys, we need to create a new folder in our root in wherever you keep your projects. To be honest, I'm going to call mine, because it's in my 100 days of code. It's going to be day 39 of my 100 days of code, and it's going to be called reactive timer. Now I cd into that directory 39, and I'm going to clear the directory. I am then going to run in here npx create react app, and to do npx you need to have Node installed. I believe it's over version 10 or version 8 or something similar. I don't know. I have the latest version of Node, so I'd probably recommend downloading the latest recommended version of Node, and then this should work fine. So you can type in npx create react app and then give it a name. So I'm going to call this reactive timer, and then that's going to create a new project. And what this does, npx, it basically allows you to run or install a project like create react app using npx that is built from Node. So normally you do npm or install create react app, and then you'll just run create react app. But with npx you don't have to do that. You don't have to install this anywhere on your computer for it to run. Okay everybody, we are now done. This is done. As you can see, we've got a few scripts it gave us to run. So npm start will start a development server. npm run build will build to static files for production. Test runs a test, and run eject removes this tool and copies build dependencies, configuration files and scripts into the app directory. If you do this, you can't go back. I don't know what that one does. I don't like the look of it. I'm not going to use it. So first thing first, we're going to go into reactive timer, and then we're going to say npm start to run it, because we want it to be running. And this is going to start, yep, there we go, this is going to start development server, and it's automatically hot reloading our page over here. There you go, so that has now been updated automatically with the default boilerplate template stuff which is in React already. So let's open this up in code. So let's quickly open a new thing, do code and dot. There we go. So now that is stretched out, let's go over the files inside of our reactive or our React project. And the first things first is we've got obviously our scripts and our dependencies. We have React, which is the core React. We have React DOM, which just allows you to manipulate the DOM, and then we have React scripts, which are these things down here. And they all just allow it to run nicely. And if we go into public, so this bit here is where so we can remove all these comments because, well, you can read them if you want to read them. I already know what they all are. We can change our theme color to FFCE00 because this is a PWA, a progressive web app by default, because React creates it as one, and when you actually build this project, this all should work. Now in create react app, let's change this to reactive timer, and that is all we need to touch in here. So with how React works is it will look for this root directory, this root ID or AID somewhere on the page where it can inject the code into, which injects all this what we can see on page here. Other than that, this all looks good. You don't need to change any of this unless you see fit. Let's remove that. Let's close out a file, and just to let you know, this is the manifest file we have. So we have a few files. We have the surface worker, which again is to help with the PWA side of things, and it also helps with a few other things, but we don't have to worry about this. So that is cool. We don't need to worry about it. We've got a logo, but we don't need it. We've got this index.js, which is our root component. Well, it's not a root component either. It's just, this is where we render the DOM. So we import React and React DOM. We then import a CSS file to default styles. We're not going to touch it. It's going to be our resets. And then we import app from this component here, apps, or app.js, and then we import our surface work. Inside React DOM, using React DOM, we render a component. So we're rendering this app, and we're passing it through to this root component, which we saw inside of our public HTML index file. So that is all we need. Again, I don't need comments, so I'm just going to remove them, but you can keep them if you like. So next thing up, we have this test, but this is what we do when we run React npm run test. I think it was. I'm not sure, but it was one of them. Let's have a look. It was, yeah, npm run test. We'll run that for us, but we don't need to do that because I trust it's going to work straight away for now. And next up, we have a few things here. So we import this logo, we import React and component from React. Actually, we're using component here. Other than that, everything else looks okay. Other than that, we don't really need to know anything else about this. We can just get into it and start working off from it. So we're going to remove this logo, and we're also going to remove this whole, we're actually going to remove everything but just in there, so just that, and we're going to hit save, and as you can see, that whole thing refreshed. Well, next up, we're going to go into app.css, and we're going to remove everything. Or are we going to remove everything? I think we will keep this stuff, just remove the app logo, keep the app and the app header, but I think app link can go too. And we want to change, actually, you know, we're going to delete and we're going to write it ourselves. So we're going to keep the app, but we're going to rewrite our own header ourselves. So normally I would pull this out into its own component and call it navbar or header or something, but for this tutorial I'm not going to do that. I'm going to write in here h3, and I'm going to write timer, and then I'm going to write a span and say app. And that's what I'm going to do for the header for now. Now let's go and style this header. So there we go, we've got our timer app at the top there. We're going to start off by setting the background color. We're going to say background color, and we'll set this equal to one of my favorite dark grays. We're going to then say display flex. We're going to flex direction. It's going to be column because we want it, well, actually, to be fair, that doesn't really matter. Align items, center, justify content, center, and we don't need this flex direction. We're going to set a min height of 60 pixels. We're then going to say color is equal to F3, and then we're going to say font size, and this is going to be equal to 28 pixels. So it's safe and see what that looks like. Oh, it looks quite big. But let's quickly do something. So we're going to do app header, and then we're going to say h3. So we're going to get that h3 inside there. We're going to set the color equal to FCE00. We're then going to say, we're actually going to set the font size in here. Actually, I don't know why I set it in the. I don't know why I set anything inside there. That doesn't need to be set there. And we're going to say here 28 pixels. We're going to set the font weight to be a heavy or black, so it's really dark. And then we're going to say text transform, and we're going to set this to uppercase. Uppercase. There we go. Save that, and there we go. Our time app now has style, but I kind of want to change. We've set a span so we can change the style of the second wording, so we can. It's not all one word. So let's write in app header h3 and then span, so we can target that span. And we're going to say color and we're going to set it equal to a very, very light grey, and we're going to set the font weight to 300, which is a light font weight. And there we go, we've got our title, that's all set up. I think that looks good. We're also going to remove this animation because that was what was making the logo spin. And that's all we need for the header. I think the header looks quite big, but at 100% it looks fine. It's just I'm zoomed in so you guys can see it a bit better. Let's move back into our directory and let's create our first component, I think. Or should we let's set up no, we'll set up our first component. So let's write in here timer. Or time, I don't know, time, maybe time looks better. We'll say time, and then we're going to hit save, and that's going to fail because we need to define it. So let's first import this not real component, and we're going to say time from, and we're going to create a folder called components / time. Let's hit save, and again that's not going to exist. So inside source, let's create a new folder and call it components, and inside there we're going to create a file called time.js, and then we're going to type in RCE, and this could create me a React boilerplate. If I hit save, as you see we get no, but basically what just happened there is I use an extension, that's not my extensions, which one is extensions? Is this one, isn't it? Yeah. I use an extension called, where is it? ES7 Reacts, Redux, GraphQL, and React Native snippets. And basically, you can write loads of different things. You can have to look here what you can write, and these will create you predefined things. So actually, in React, we have all this stuff. We have Redux stuff. We have our const est. What else do we have in here? Where's the RCE? I don't know where RCE is, but it stands for React Component something. Oh yeah, look, RCE. So it imports this whole React part here. RCC Justice, what it basically makes it more compact, and so forth. So it does multiple things. So yeah, that's the extension I'm using to do these quick writing. So if you want to check that out, go check that out on the VSCode store. I'm not sure if there's any equivalent for Atom or anything, but I know it works perfect for here. Let me add some semicolons back in because I like having my semicolons. And now inside of our time, we're going to set this diff with a class name, because you can't use class, it has to be class name because class is already a named thing in JavaScript, and in here we're going to say time view. Okay, and then we'll create another diff with the class of time, and in here we're going to, so I just did double curly braces, which is a view thing, not React, and we're going to say this.props.time. At the minute this.props.time doesn't exist and nothing is going to display, but if we go back into, oh god, I closed it down, whoops, my bad. If we go back in here and we write like next to it time and hit save, as you can see time appears there, but we don't want that yet. So now if we go back into app, let's create a couple of functions or methods inside of our thing. First things first, we're going to have the constructor, and the constructor is going to call super because it errors if that is not there. And then we're going to set the state. We're going to set the state, and we're going to set that equal to time is equal to 0. And then we're going to have something called formatted time. And this is going to be for default 0000 because we can't just display a 0 to our screen. We want to display a formatted time by the methods of, let's put a comment, hour, minute, and second. And that is how we want it to display our time. So that is the format we've got there. They're the only two we need right now, so let's pass it in here. So now we're going to create a prop, and we're going to pass down this.state.formatted time. And if we hit save, there we go, our time is in there. So let's style up this component. So let's go back into app, and we called it time view, right? Time view, and the background color is also going to be equal to the same as the header. The padding is going to be equal to 15 pixels, and the color is going to be equal to f3. And then inside of time view dot time, we're going to say color. Again, is this f3. I don't know why I did it in here again. I keep doing that. Let's set the font size to be quite big. We want it to be 32 pixels. And we're also going to say the font weight is equal to 700. And let's hit save. There we go. So that's nice and styled. It's big, and we can read that quite easily. Maybe we should do this not E, maybe 53565A. Maybe we should have a grey there, just because it makes it different from the header. Maybe a different grey, because that grey isn't great. What about a... No. 313131? Again, maybe a bit, maybe 414141. We're going to leave it at that for now. I like that. Can we have a text shadow? Oh, that's not a text shadow. Shadow, and I'm guessing it's the same as normal, so we go 3 pixels, and then RGBA. Or just have a spread, it probably does. Let's say 6 pixels, and we'll say RGBA of 0.2. Let's hit save. Hey, yeah, we got a little text shadow. I'm gonna put a spread of A and make this a bit darker by putting it by 2.5. There we go. And if we put this on an AA8 now, yeah, that looks a lot better. Yeah, we're gonna put on AA8 background color. Okay, so that is styled, but now we want to get the timer ticking, right? So we are going to set some things. So after construction, we're going to have a method we call start timer. Oh. And what this is going to do is basically start our timer, right? And we're going to say this dot timer is equal to set interval. So we're going to create a interval. We're going to use an arrow function inside of here. We're going to say this dot set state, and we're going to pass through time, which is going to be equal to this dot state dot time plus 1. We're then going to pass back through the formatted time, and we need to format this. We're going to create a function called format time, and then we're going to pass this dot state dot time plus 1 again back through to this. So let's after the interval, actually we need to set the time for it. So it's going to run every 1 second, so 1000 milliseconds. And we're going to say console.log timer has started. ... So let's create the format time function or method, and we're going to say inside here, we're going to create a date because we need to get a date, and we'll set this equal to a new date with null. We're then going to set the seconds, so we're going to go set seconds, and that is going to, so we pass through the seconds from the state, and in here set state is going to be equal to sec. So whatever we pass through, we're going to set the seconds equal to that, because that's how many seconds we want to have been set for our date. Then we're going to say formatted time is equal to, and we're going to say date.to ISO string. So this returns like the year and everything in it. So we need to actually only get the part we want, which is equal to 11 and 8, which is the time. And that will return our time. So now let's return formatted time. Oh no. Formatted time. So that should now return correctly. This should all now work. If we call from our constructor, we call this dot start timer, Actually, we need to set this equal to, we need to bind, so this keyword inside of start timer will not work right now because that is just how it is. We need to actually bind this to this timer. So we're going to say this dot start timer dot bind, and we're going to say this. And then we're going to call this dot start timer. If we hit save and we wait for this to is there an error? Why is nothing showing on my there we go. And there you go, it's running straight away, it's running automatically. So that is really cool. That's how you start just a basic timer anyway, but we need buttons. We want to be able to start, pause, slap, and stop this timer. So to do that, we're going to create a new action, or a new component. We'll call it action, and we're going to say we're going to pass something through called timer state, and this is going to be set to this dot state dot timer state. And yeah, that's not going to exist either, and neither is action, and that should be actions, but that doesn't exist either. And inside of our state, we're going to say, what do we call it? Timer state. We're going to say timer state, and we're going to set this equal to stopped to start with, because it is basically stopped. Yeah, comment there. I'm going to remove this comment because we get how it works. So let's create a new component and call it actions. So in here we're going to say actions.js, and we're going to type RCE to get a boilerplate, and we're going to put actions in there, and that should all be good. That's good. So let's go back to our app and let's import this. So we're gonna split this away from those so we can see which are imports, and this what you get what I'm saying. Actions from, and let's go /components/actions. So there we go. That should now work. There we go. Actions is now imported. And now let's go back into our action. So we want to create a few buttons. We want to say button, and there's going to be start button, but we don't want to do it like this. We want to actually, we need to check what the state is so we can set the button correctly. So let's go above our above our return function, but under our render function. So inside the render function, we're going to write let's start, and this is going to be equal to the button, but we're going to say this, we're going to set it to a I forgot what it's called, territory operator, some sort of, it's an if state, it's an inline if statement, I'm calling it that. And we're going to say props.timer state is not equal to running. So as long as this is not equal to running, we're going to put a question mark, and we're going to say, or we'll just go button gamepad button. What? No, that's not. Wow, I can't write button because it's mean to me. And in here we're going to put start. Else, and we're literally going to have the same thing for now, but this is going to be equal to disabled. And we're also going to have a class of start on here, or class name, sorry. And that's the same for in here. But after here we're going to say on click, and we're going to set this equal to this.props.start timer. So what we're doing here is we're calling a start timer prop inside of a click on this button, but a click on this button, obviously this is basically acting like an event. So remember, if anyone's here from the Vue side of things, in Vue we do an emit, and we emit it up to into our parent component, but in this one we just run, we can pass down functions down to the child components and call that back up. So let's save this, and we should see nothing. Good. Oh yeah, so in here we have to write start, so we have to pass through this variable, and there we are, a little button is there. It doesn't do anything, it's probably erroring right now when I click it. So let's go back into our app, and we've got our start timer function here. Remember, we created this, so let's remove start timer from our constructor so it doesn't run straight away. And we've got our start timer there. we've passed through our timer state into actions. Let's make this a bit neater because we're going to have a lot of things pass through in here, and let's drop that onto a new line. And under here, we're going to say, what did we call it? Start timer, right? This dot start timer. So yeah, we're going to say start timer is equal to this dot start timer. If we hit save, and I click on this start timer, sorry, I missed a click. I was like, why isn't it working? And there you go, our timer starts. I'm pretty sure if we click this multiple times, yeah, if we click this multiple times, it obviously speeds up and goes insane, but we will fix that once. This is why we have this running state, so you can't actually click the button again once it becomes disabled down here. Okay. Let's add one of those to the bottom, and now, so when we click this button, so let's save, so let's go back in here. So when we click this button, we actually want to set the state, or the, what did we call it? Timer state, that's it. We want to set the state equal to running. And now, when I hit this start button, that should start, but now I can't click it again, so we can't do that super speedy thing. And that is why we're using this this inline, or in my case I haven't made it inline, if statement to run. So it says if it's not equal to running, then we do this one, else if it is equal to running, we would pass the disabled button through. And that is it, that's as easy as that. So now let's create a couple other buttons with some other functions. Let's create the lap button, and we'll set it's equal to this dot props dot timer state again, and we'll set this equal to, or we'll set if it is equal to running. So as long as it is running, we can then say button with a class name equal to lap and an on click. Just to let you know, you need to use a capital C for a on click. In React, if you do a lowercase on click, it expects you to pass through JavaScript and not JSX stuff like, or React stuff like this.props.start timer. So on click, and we're going to say this dot props dot port, or no, dot lap, and we're going to say, there we go, we're going to say lap, and then we're also going to say the same thing, but instead of the on click, we're going to replace the on click with a disabled attribute. And let's save. Oh, and then we need to call it in here. There we go, so the lap is in there. Let's copy and paste this now so it's a bit quicker, and I'm going to get a pause button in and a stop button. So let's call this pause, and if pause is equal to running, it will be the same. We're going to say this dot pause timer, and we're going to say pause, and here we're going to put stop quickly and stop, and the class is going to be equal to pause, and hit save. And there we oh, we need to pass them through down here again, don't forget that. So we're going to pass in that variable and the stop variable. If we hit save, there we go, we've got lap, because I forgot to change this one to stop and this one to pause. So we go, they are all there. So this will need to be if it's not equal to stopped, because as long as it's not equal to stopped, then we can stop this. It doesn't have to be running to stop it, because if it's paused, we can still stop it. And then this one up here should be running, and not equal to running. There we go. So that is that is good. Let's okay. So all these are good, but we need to now, let's style this. So we've got our buttons. Let's go into the style, because it's going to bug me out. And we're going to set some default styles straight away. We're going to say button, and we're going to say width of 100% and padding of 15 pixels. We're then going to say button.start, and we're going to say the background color is equal to our favorite yellow color. The button.lap is going to be equal to a background color of some 00FC, or no, FFCE, some like really light blue. The button dot pause is going to have a background color of 0085CA, which is a cobalt blue. Our button dot stop is going to have a background color of a darkish red. So we go, now we hit set. Oh, we haven't set our classes for this one down here. So this stop and stop. There we go. Back into app. And then we want to say button. Yep, and then disabled. And we're going to say, if it's disabled, we want the background to be equal to EEE and the color to be equal to AAA. So hit save, and there we go. Those buttons are all stopped, and this one is started. Or it's going to go in here and say border or 1 pixel dashed, and then set that to EEE, or maybe a bit darker. Should I say AAA? Maybe border bottom too. And we're going to say border none for that part. There we go. So these, they do get outlined, so we're going to also set the outline to none because we don't want that. Okay, so now that's styled up, we can go back into our action section, and if we hit start on our timer, as you can see, it starts, it still runs, and needs all become available, and the start button becomes unclickable. So we could hit lap, but it's not going to do anything right now. We could hit pause and stop, but we need to set up the functionality. So we've set it up inside our action, so we can close our actions file. We just now need to say pause timer, and we need to set that equal to the clear interval. So we're going to stop the timer, and we'll say this dot timer. And I say this dot set state, and we're going to set the state to time 0 formatted time. It's going to be equal to 0 0 0. Oh wait, this is stop timer. Why am I? Sorry, we just need to set this state. This dot state. Oh no, timer state. God, I am not remembering my variable names today, am I? It's equal to paused. And now we're going to pass through here. We're going to say pause timer is equal to this dot pause timer. But once again, this isn't going to work because we use the this keyword inside of pause timer, and to use that, this is going to refer to pause timer as a function. It's not going to refer to the whole class. So we want to go up here and say this dot pause timer is equal to this dot pause timer dot bind, and we're going to say this. So the this key operator or key works inside there. So if we hit start, it's going to start, and then if we hit pause, it's going to pause it, and we can now start and pause the application, which is good. Next up, let's stop it. So let's go stop timer. Again, it's going to clear interval. It's going to say this dot timer, and then we're going to say this. Oh, why? Sometimes some things are annoying. This dot set state is equal to time 0. Actually, basically, we're just going to set it back to the original state. Oh, god damn it, I didn't realize I grabbed the time bit too. And then we're going to set the timer state to stopped, which is good. And we're going to say console.log timer has stopped, although we don't really need to check that. There we go. So now if we hit start, oh wait, no, that's not going to do anything. We need to actually pass through that. So we're going to say stop timer is equal to this dot stop timer. Let's hit save. Now let's hit start. So this is going to run. hopefully. There we go. And then we can pause it, we can resume it, and we can stop it, which isn't working. Let's go into our actions component, and yep, we didn't give it the stop timer prop. We just said straight up to put lap. Okay, cool. So let's hit start again and let's see that works. So we got start. If we hit stop, oh, timer off undefined. Let's go up here. Let's have a look. So did we? Oh, guys, so see, this is what happens. We need to bind stop timer again to up here. Good job to everybody who noticed that, and I missed that. So let's try this one more time. Let's hit start. When it starts, let's hit stop, and it stops straight through and resets it back to default. So let's start. Let's hit pause. And now let's hit stop. So that all works. That all works good. Last thing is we need to now lap. So we're going to call this lap. And we're going to, first things first, we need to create a variable in here called laps. And this is going to be an array. And we're going to also have lap, which is going to be our current lap. Our lap time, shall I say, in seconds. So let's go back down here to where we created the lap. And in here, we're going to say let laps equal this.state.laps. And then we're going to say laps.push. And we'll say this.state.time. So what we're doing here is when we hit lap, we're going to get the current time. And we're going to set that equal to, we're going to push that onto a laps variable. And then we're going to say this.setState. And we're going to say lap is equal to this.state.time, but laps is equal to laps. So now over here we're going to say console.log, and we're going to say lapped this.state.lap. Oh. And that'll be our current lap. And now let's pass that through to our action. So we're going to say lap is equal to this.lap. So for this, I'm actually going to widen this and open it up in our DevTools. I've got something called React DevTools installed on my Mac. You should go and install that from the Chrome extension store. I'm not sure what it's actually called. The Chrome Web Store, and also if you're on Firefox, you can install it on Firefox too, and I believe you can install it on Safari as well. So as you can see here, so this is a really good tool for debugging. As you see here, we have our formatted time, our laps, our lap, our laps, and timer state, all hooked to this app component. So if we hit start, you'll start seeing stuff gets updated inside of our state, and if we hit lap, we get an error. Oh, guys, so I forgot again. We have to say, but we have to bind lap to lap. Now, if we click back on this, and now we hit start and let it run. If we hit lap, as you can see, our current lap is 2, and our laps array has a new one. So if we hit lap again, we've got our current lap is 8, and number 1 is 8. If we lap again, we get 17. But let's stop and let's start again. And now let's hit lap. We get a 1, but it doesn't go to the top of our array. It starts at the bottom of our array, which is cool, but not very cool. We want it to be the other way. We want it so our quicker times go straight to the top of our lap array. Let's stop this and let's close the DevTools and let's shrink this back down for now. So first things first, let's actually create a display, a component called laps for our, and we're going to pass through a laps prop, say this.state.laps, and this is going to be to display our laps. So we're going to say format time is also equal to this.format time, because we're going to need that function through there. Alright, it doesn't exist. Yeah, of course it doesn't. So let's create a import for this, although and we'll say laps, and we're going to pass through laps. And now let's create that component. Let's save this file. Create a component called laps.js and do RCE. And I named it lap. God damn it! Let's rename it to laps. And name this to laps and laps. And also do this. So save, and that should be fine now. Okay, so now inside of laps, we want to pass a class name equal to laps for starters, and now we want to do something which we want to do some like rendering from here. So we're going to say this dot props dot laps dot sort, and then we're going to say this dot compare. So we're going to pass through a function called the compare, which we're going to create up here. And then we're going to do map. So we're going to map through this, which after it's been sorted, we're then going to map. And we're going to say lap is equal to, so each lap. So this is like doing a loop here. So by doing a map, we're actually going to loop through each lap and do something with it. So in here, we're going to say diff, double diff, please. And I'm going to say class name is equal to lap, and we're then going to pass through this dot props dot format time. So this, and we're going to pass through that lap, and this is going to set that all up nicely. So we have that all set. And now let's create this. Let's create the compare function, and this is going to be the most difficult thing you've ever done. You're going to say A, B, and right in here you're going to return A minus B, and this is basically going to pull it in the correct order from from smallest to largest. And you could do B minus A for the opposite way around, from largest to smallest. So that is good. They're all set. Laps exported. Let's close this, and I think that, oh my god, is that actually it? Is that it? So let's hit, I don't know why I refresh. Let's hit start. So now that runs 1, 2. We hit lap. Oh, our first lap goes there. Our second lap goes under. Let's stop it and let's start it. And let's lap it at 1 second. So 1 goes to the top. So straight away, this is all working nicely. Let's open up this and have a look at our React state. Surprisingly, this works tiny. This works on a tiny phone. And in our array, we have our numbers in there in the correct order too. So that is all good. That is looking great. Let's just style up our laps quickly in our CSS. So in here, let's go underneath buttons, and we're going to say dot lap. We don't really need to if we define the laps, and we're just going to say padding of 15 pixels and a border bottom of 1 pixel dashed, and it's set equal to CCC. Let's hit save, and there we go. That is now all set, and our timer's worked. Let's lap that. Let's pause. It pauses, and let's stop it, and it stops. So that is how we create a timer app in React. And just to go over, we went over a lot of state stuff in this video. So we were calling state. So this is a get method for state, and also the initial way you set state. But you can't change this on the fly by doing this.state.laps is equal to laps. It has to be this.setState. So you have to set it through here. Also, if you see in here, I create a laps, and I say this.state.laps. So I create a new variable. Why didn't I just go into laps and go lap this.state.laps .push this.state.time? Because that won't work. You have to actually separate these exactly. Even if you did created laps and set laps straight to .push, that wouldn't work either. It has to be like this, and how I've got it set up right now. Else this set state is going to error, and you're not going to be able to do it. We're going to console log our state. So if we open up this and then bring out our dev tools, maybe a bit wider, let's go to our console. Each child should have a unique key. That is a really good point, actually. So inside of our laps in here, we should be giving these a key and saying, so up here in map, I think we can pass through an I to, and we can just say I. Let's hit save. Go back to this, and our error seems to be gone. Let's start. Let's lap 1, lap at 2 seconds, lap at 4 seconds. Let's pause. Oh, we didn't set a console log for pause, but let's stop, and the timer has stopped. So there we go. We started our timer, we lapped, we did pause, but we didn't set a console log, and we stopped. So our state is working great. Everything works good. And hopefully you guys learned something out. I hope you learned more about how React state works and how you have to set it. Hopefully we should be doing more React soon in the future, some more advanced stuff, because I've mainly been focused on Vue, which I am still going to do as well. Vue is going to be one thing I always do. Vue is amazing. But for now, guys, let me know what you want me to do in the future, and I will speak to you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and you learned something new. Hit that subscribe button if you want to learn more, and also leave your feedback in the comments section below, or hop over to our Discord, which our link is in the description, and come say hello to everyone and meet up new developers like yourself. Other than that, guys, the GitHub link will be on GitHub in the description, and thank you for watching. Peace out.